Hello, let's do some groundwork today on New Earth. And I'm going to give you 8 points that are relevant to all of us, but 8 points that brought me here. So, New Earth is a term that doesn't only come from Dolores Cannon, but a lot comes from Dolores Cannon. So, this is my point number 1. I read Dolores Cannon about 20 years ago, and when I read it, I felt, wow, there's somebody out there who actually gets it. And I felt really understood. Apart from the waves, apart from the starseed, apart from all the work that she did, the convoluted universe, and as I said, New Earth was so clear to me. And so I'm so happy that now we are talking again so much about Dolores Cannon, whether it is with Julia Bass and also her astrology that comes out of her work with Dolores Cannon, beautiful quantum hypnosis, whatever, but also Paul Williams. So it's really, really interesting that we are catching on to New Earth. This was my point number 1. My point number 1 with New Earth was actually the little boy. Wasn't sitting always in the hammock, but climbing trees, because I was looking beyond horizons to find New Earth. And I even used that kind of words, New Earth or New World, and I was wondering where it was. And interestingly, I also felt it was somehow, from a time perspective, a short time, a moment ahead, and we would not be able to meet. At least not at that time when I was a little boy, but for me it was very clear. It's New Earth and I wanted to see it. So this is point number 2. Now, point number 3 takes us to the Celestine prophecy. When I was reading the Celestine prophecy in my 20s, it was like, hey guys, I told you this. Why is nobody listening to me? And so it took me on another trip, and again, the New Earth, the New World came to me very clearly. But of course, when I was in my 20s, nobody talked about we're stepping into New Earth. It was still something that was coming. And yet, of course, when I got really into this beautiful work of the Celestine prophecy and what came after, it was so clear to me this New Earth is actually already here. And it was not a surprise to me that it was connected to also indigenous people and to Peru. And where do I live now? In the jungle of Peru. So I find the synchronicities and the synergies and the symphony of New Earth and the cosmos quite fascinating. So we're on number 3. Now let's look at number 4. So the other thing that was fascinating for me was that I heard about Diana Cooper, and I really enjoyed what she did, and also Tim Wilde. Of course, there are other people who do similar work, but they also talk about New Earth. And Tim Wilde's Practical Ascension, that really talked to me. He worked with crystals, so did I, and I really felt a very, very strong connection to that whole body of work, the ascension, chakras and all of that. And I had a real sense that we are actually on track. So that was another one. And now we come to 5. And 5 is a little bit 2 points at the same time, because I don't want to bore you too much, but it is important. Each time it was another place of getting really vulnerable and going beyond. So that number 5 is more about the Mayan calendar, but also about the shamanic world. So the Mayan calendar always fascinated me. What happens in 2012? What is that empty time? I couldn't stop reading and inquiring, and I couldn't stop just being clear. It had to do something with that new world that I was looking for beyond the horizons. And so I guess it was the Mayan calendar that brought me into the world of the Kairos and studying practical mystic and doing all that kind of work. And so There I got introduced through Alberto Vialdo, who was the teacher of my teacher. And of course, interestingly enough, there is a point when they speak about the Laika. And according to that tradition, to that story that resonates with me, the Laika were actually the spiritual advisors of the Inca kings. And these Laika guys, they did not do healing and bone setting and initiations. Their job was actually to dream a new world into being. Now, when I heard that, it was very clear to me, here we go again, the new earth, the new world. And again, I had a sense of resonance that I was here to dream this new earth, this new world into being. But of course, when you feel something like that, it can be very scary. It can be very daunting. What are you going to do about it? And most of the things that I'm telling you obviously have a little history. In 2012, I did step into New Earth. I had 3 years of corporate. I lived in New Zealand, and I had 9 years of lecturing at university. All fabulous time to reconnect. It was also the time when I got into starseeds, Arcturians, when I studied Reiki, when I did the practical mystic, the shamanic training, and so much more, crystal healing, crystal learning, tarot. It's a very long list. I don't want to bore you with this again. But when I left that job and I came back to Jamaica, it was very clear I stepped into New Earth. Still a little bit doubting, in and out, not so sure what was actually happening. So, what is the next point? I believe we are at 6 now. And I'm taking you back in time again. I think it started about 2007. And that was a very interesting situation. I worked a lot with Arcturians and Pleiadians and other star beings, and I had a very strong connection. Intergalactic councils and all that kind of stuff. And so I want to say recruited by the Cosmic Council of Heartlights. And I got a very clear instruction that I was here to activate Heartlights. So I did, because when you get that kind of job, then you take it. And so I started in New Zealand, and I even continued that in Jamaica for quite a long time, actually. And part of that work had to do with New Earth. And it was kind of funny. Again, it was just a leap of faith. And I was asked to bring down temples of light from the cosmos, sometimes from Lyra, sometimes from other ascended planets, but also from the galactic center itself. And it was temples of light that would anchor in the new Earth. And that was fascinating too, because I get a bunch of people together, the Heartlights, and we would anchor it in New Zealand, but it felt like it came out in all different parts of the world that I hadn't heard before. And I'm a traveler, so when it took me to Namibia and that river, not a river, it's a lake that is Atosha Pan it's called. I found that interesting. I mean, when it came out in Machu Picchu, it didn't excite me, or it excited me, but it was kind of clear. But the fascinating thing was, again, I was asked to anchor in this beautiful vibration of ascension and of new Earth. And so we're coming to an end. In 2018, one of my very intergalactic friends in New Zealand, Ashman Das is his name, current name, we were guided to create different entrance points for New Earth so people could actually enter. And it was very interesting, and of course we had a lot of fun with that. And I just felt it was time to get actually more into that. So this is my story of New Earth. Yes, I feel it's my turf. It has been with me for a very long time, possibly most of my life. And although I had many doubts, but I know that I live in New Earth. And I know that the all the wisdom that came through and still is coming through, because Dolores Cannon for me is, maybe since she passed more so, is truly a guide to me. Diana Cooper and Tim Wilde and many others, they have supported all of this, the Leica, the Celestine prophecy, and it's great when we can graduate and truly heal to do our job. And one of my jobs is really to create access and hope. I think it's also hope for New Earth. Yes, we know New Earth is part of the cycle, the evolution of this Earth, but also the whole cosmos. But yet, to live it and to embody it is a very different story. So sorry, this is one that's a little bit long. I will put some other links for you in the description, so you may find that there's other people who are just as crazy as me, and most likely you are in New Earth as well. I'm not helping you to get in because I don't really like helping. I find helping actually outdated and stupid. It implies that I know what to do and you don't. But surely I am happy to invite you. And I am composing the harmonies that gets us all in there, regardless of whatever choices we have made in the past, and regardless of whatever karma or astral limitations we're carrying. This is the year 2024. These ascension vibes 2024 and these harmonic states of being can get us there. But stay tuned, because I have still more to say about New Earth, and also have a lot to say about Homoluminous. I've been talking about this for a long time, so stay tuned, because I will tell you a lot about Homoluminous. See you there.